Welcome to the video. In this video, I want to show you how you can track anyone on your network, basically your local network. Now, first of all, head over to command prompt, then we're going to start. Type this, app-a. This command is going to show us the list of devices that are on our network and their MAC addresses. Now, basically, as a right network administrator, you should know your devices' MAC addresses and how they look like. Now, basically for me, I have some other devices on my network which are loopback and also virtual machines. And the virtual machines IP addresses start from 172.172. So I know they are not part. But the ones that start with 192.168 are part. Basically, I have two devices connected on my network. So I only expect two devices to look alike in this network. And the rest do not look alike. Currently, these are what's just normal loopback, and also some of these are just subnet masks. Now, let's assume that this device was not on my network. Let's assume there's only one device on my network, which doesn't actually make it a network, but let's assume this IP address is on my network and I do not know who's the IP address for. I'm going to copy this IP address, then head over to my command prompt. Then I'm going to type ping -t, then input the IP address of the target. What we're doing here is that we're trying to track the live activity of the device. Now, if the device is returning request timed out and how it's behaving on the network, we could have a live, view on that. And we are pinging this device and it says request times out. Now, that is a little bit suspicious, right? Now, the next thing we are going to do is we're going to try and check the open ports on this device. Some devices do not allow us to, perform pings on them. So let's try and perform a port scan. Now, we're not going to use any special port scan. We're just going to use Telnet. And we're going to assume we think this device is a Windows device or a server. So we'll say port 22. And it says connection failed. Then we say port 53. It still says connection failed. We say port 80. Connection failed. Now we know that this device has not accepted. Most of the ports are not open on this device. But if any of these ports were open, it could help you to leverage your privileges. Now, as a hacker, we could use Nmap. Simple type Nmap if you have it installed. Then click enter on this. Then it should perform a normal port scan on the device. Now, what we can see is that Nmap says that it's blocking ping probes. That is why when we pinged it, it says request timed out. We're basically gathering information about this device. So we know that this device has some level of security. So when we type Nmap ping, we bring a switch that we're going to try to scan the device without using a ping. So let's click enter on this. And it's going to scan this IP address. And we do not have any output here. Basically, we know that this device is on our network. Now, let's try and perform a host lookup, a DNS lookup on a device to find maybe some DNS information about a device. We see something that DNS server 88, that's using Google's DNS server. It says DNS request timed out. It still doesn't allow us to send and receive any information about a device. Now, basically, when this happens to you, what you're going to do is you're going to head over to this place and check something right here. What can you see? You can see that physical address says FFFF throughout, which means that this device is not actually a device on our network. It's simply like a loopback. Now, what we're trying to look for is something that says dynamic right here. And you can see it is mapped to a real device that is on my network. And my device's IP address is 31. So basically, this device is the router I'm connected to, and this is my IP address. Now, what we want to do is that we want to be able to track a certain device. For instance, this device. Now, with this device, when we type ping on it, then we bring the -t, you can see we have some replies and the time in which it took for it to reply. Now, I want you to analyze something. You can see that for the first two pings, the third ping has a huge time limit. It says 459 milliseconds, but the rest just took 6 and 2 milliseconds. Now we know that something is happening with the device. Either the device is talking to another device on the network, or there's some fluctuations in the network. Let's continue pinging it and see how it behaves. The first one was high, the rest are low. Now it's acting normal. Basically, this is what ping does. We don't just use ping to know, we need to know how long it takes a device to respond to us. Then we can know whether the device is doing something with another device on the network or not. Now, let's try and perform a port scan by using Telnet. Input the device's IP address and a port. Port 23, it says connecting, nothing, it failed. Port 22, it says connecting, of course, it's going to fail. Now, let's try and use port 453, 450, or 453. Still says not working. Let's use Nmap and type Nmap, input the device's IP address, and try and get open ports on this device. Now, when we do this Nmap scan, Nmap is a network mapper, a tool used to scan devices. You can see that a port is open and it says port 53. Most of the times, Android devices have a single port that is always open, that's the port 53. That is why all our Telnet port scans were not actually connecting, because it's only port 53 that's open on the device. And the device's MAC address is right here, and you can see that the MAC address is actually the same. So now this is how you can track any device on your network. With the MAC address, you can know what type of device it is. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.